Let me ask you a simple question. When you step inside a grocery store, do you feel like you have choices? Sure, you might walk past 10 brands of cereal, 8 brands of yogurt, or 20 different beverages. But what if I told you that the majority of those brands are owned by the same handful of corporations? And to make it better, what if I told you those same corporations, or at least their top investors, also have stakes in pharmaceutical companies, insurance providers, and even hospital systems? Today's episode is called Who Owns the Aisles? And it's not just about the layout of a box grocery store, it's about how that layout is designed to guide your behavior and how the companies filling those shelves might be more connected than you think. We're going to break down the psychology of how grocery stores are laid out to nudge you towards highly profitable and often highly processed products. Then we'll connect the dots between who owns those brands and what else they have their hands in. Because understanding what's really going on behind the scenes is step one in becoming food independent. This is about more than just shopping smarter, it's about living freer. So grab your coffee, maybe a slice of that fresh homemade bread, and let's step into the grocery store, one aisle at a time. The grocery store layout, it's a psychological map. Walk into any major grocery store, Target, Walmart, Kroger, Albertsons, and you're not just walking into a building full of food, you're stepping into a psychological chessboard where every shelf, every aisle, and every product placement has been designed to influence your behavior. Let's start with the basics. The layout of a standard box store follows what's called the racetrack design. You've seen it before, even if you didn't realize it. It's that big loop that runs around the perimeter of the store. You enter on one side, weave through the fresh produce, and circle through meats, dairy, and bakery before reaching the registers. And here's where it gets interesting. The essentials, like milk, eggs, and bread, rarely grouped together. They're placed about as far apart as possible. Why? Because it forces you to walk past dozens of other products, increasing the chances you'll make impulse buys. Want some chips without milk? A soda to go with those eggs? A candy bar while you wait in line? Guess what? The grocery store, they're counting on it. End caps. The shelves at the end of the aisles. Those aren't filled with the best deals. They're filled with products that companies paid to put there. Same goes for eye level shelf space. It's not about what's healthiest or most affordable. It's about who can pay for your attention. Ever notice that the healthiest, freshest foods, fruits, vegetables, meats, are on the perimeter of the store? Meanwhile, the highly processed, long shelf life, ready to eat items are smack in the middle. Those center aisles are a gold mine, and they're where most shoppers spend the majority of their time. Even background music is curated to slow you down. Slower tempos, relaxing melodies, these are strategic choices designed to make you linger longer and spend more. So, no, it's not random. The modern grocery store is engineered to turn foot traffic into profit. And once you realize that, the next question becomes profits for who? That's right. Who owns the aisles? Let's peel back that label for just a second. You walk down the cereal aisle, you'll see Cheerios, Lucky Charms, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Trix. 4 different brands? Not really. They're all owned by General Mills. Next aisle over, snacks and drinks, Lay's, Doritos, Cheetos, and Tostitos, all PepsiCo. Same for Gatorade, Mountain Dew, and Quaker Oats. What about Nestle? They own everything from DiGiorno Pizza to Coffee Mate to bottled water brands like Poland Spring and Perrier. And Unilever brings you Hellman's Mayo, Ben& Jerry's ice cream, and Lipton tea. Kellogg's owns Pringles, Frosted Flakes, and Eggo waffles. It gets even more connected than that, believe it or not. There are at least 10, count them, 10, I give it a 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 conglomerates that dominate the vast majority of packaged foods in your local supermarket. They include Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Unilever, General Mills, Kellogg's, Mars, Mondelez, Danone, and Kraft Heinz. I might have mispronounced one or two of those. I don't know. Anyway, many of these companies own dozens or even hundreds of seemingly separate brands. They manufacture the illusion of choice. You ever seen the corporate food family tree? It's eye-opening. A shopper may feel like they're choosing between 5 competing brands of granola bars, but behind the scenes, those brands might all lead back to one boardroom. We just don't know. But maybe we do. Let's not forget about store brands. Kroger's Simple Truth, Walmart's Great Value, Costco's Kirkland Signature. All of them are connected out to be contracted. All of those are contracted out to be manufactured by these same conglomerates. Sometimes your store brand peanut butter is literally the same formula as the name brand, just in a different jar. Now, why does this matter? Because when few companies control the majority of your food options, they control pricing, innovation, and even nutritional standards. And with fewer companies in the game, there's less incentive to change. You might think that voting with your dollar at the grocery store is powerful. And it is, but only if you're supporting true competition. Otherwise, you're voting in a rigged election. We've experienced that before. So if these conglomerates own the food, what else do they own? And this is where it gets really interesting. The crossover with pharma and healthcare. Let's talk about that for just a second. Let's talk about what happens after you've filled your cart and eaten that food for years. If I stood up right now, you'd see what happens. What happens when your health starts to reflect the diet built by these corporations. That's where things get even more tangled. Now, to be clear, food companies don't generally own pharmaceutical companies directly. I gotta say that. Food companies don't generally own pharmaceutical companies directly, but their biggest shareholders, the institutions with the most voting power, do. Two of the largest investment firms in the world, and you may have heard these names before, BlackRock and Vanguard, hold massive stakes in the top food corporations and in the world's largest pharmaceutical companies, including Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Moderna, and Bayer. These firms also have holdings in big-name health insurers like United Health Group and Cigna, as well as hospital operators like HCA Healthcare. So the same major investors profiting from the sale of the processed food are also profiting when those foods contribute to chronic disease and when you need a pill to manage it. Coincidence or just good business? Let's look at the math. Obesity, diabetes, hypertension, these are all on the rise, and they're strongly linked to diets high in sugar, salt, and processed foods. The same foods are heavily marketed and placed at eye level in your grocery store. When disease becomes predictable, pharmaceutical demand becomes predictable. What's worse, there's no financial incentive to reverse the trend. If the average American gets healthier, these industries lose a major revenue stream. Processed food causes problems. Pharma sells the fixes, and both industries get funded by the same money. It's not a conspiracy, it's just vertical integration. Understand that? It's not a conspiracy, it's just vertical integration. And that's not the end of it, folks. No, 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 no. Insurance, hospitals, let's take one more step up the chain. We've covered food and pharma. Now let's talk about the systems that manage your care, insurance companies and hospitals. The average person doesn't think about who owns their insurance provider or the hospitals they visit, but they should. The largest U.S. health insurance provider, United Health Group, has a subsidiary called Optum that owns medical practices, clinics, and data analytic firms. That's not just insurance, that's end-to-end control of care. Meanwhile, get this, CVS Health owns Aetna, also owns Minute Clinics, Caremark Pharmacy Benefit Managers, and thousands of pharmacies. We've seen CVS around. Okay, they decide what gets prescribed, how much it costs, and where it gets filled. And once again, guess what? The top institutional investors behind CVS, United Health, and HCL Healthcare, the largest hospital operator in the U.S., are the same familiar names: BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. This matters because it means our food system, our healthcare system, and our insurance systems are not three separate industries. They are three arms of the same beast, often responding to the same shareholders. It's no wonder that our nation's health feels broken. The incentives are upside down. To be quite frank, sickness pays. Now, why does this matter for you, a homesteader, or maybe just a food independent family, or somebody seeking to become that? You're interested? Here's why this matters. All this means for those of us trying to grow our own food, raise our own meat, or take back some level of control, it means that every tomato you grow, every egg you collect, every loaf of bread you bake is a small act of rebellion. When you cut your dependency on a system that profits from your illness, you regain something priceless: freedom. Food independence isn't just a lifestyle, it's a statement. It says we see what's happening and we're opting out. We're not saying everyone needs to grow everything, but if you can take back even one aisle from the grocery store, just one aisle, you're shifting power. And that's how we begin. All right. So the next time you walk into a grocery store, look around, look at the layout, and look at the labels, and ask yourself this question: who owns this aisle? Who benefits from this shelf? You don't have to be paranoid. You just have to be aware. Shop the perimeter. That's where the good stuff's at. It's worth the extra walk. Okay. Shop the perimeter. Read the labels. Okay. Read the labels. Support local farmers. Maybe join a food co-op or even grow something. Go to the farmers markets. Go to local product stores, mom and pop. Okay. Start asking not just what you're buying, but who you're buying from and what else do they own. And if you're ready to go deeper, you stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. We're diving into food labeling laws and what companies don't have to tell you. Hope you found this informative and helpful. And we're going to move on with the rest of the Farm to Table Direct show. I've got Farm to Table Direct up there. What did I do? Farm to Table Show, morning edition. I just happened to look down at my little ticker there where my name signed in, and it put Farm to Table Direct Show. Computers. Anyway, my fault. Y'all all know it's the Farm to Table Show, morning edition. Anyway, I appreciate y'all tuning in and being with me this morning. Unfortunately, this is, for those who are aware of what it is, in the chat and all of our usual suspects, it's Memorex rhyme. Unfortunately, I had to be at work early today, so this is pre-recorded. But I hope you found it interesting, made you think. Now, many of you already knew this information, or maybe you already thought you knew this information. I just kind of did a little help confirming. Let me explain to you. This generated out of a conversation Keith and I had a couple of weeks ago, and it just needed to be said, and it's going to be more of it this week. What's going on is basically we have come up with 7 principles to self-reliance. 7 steps. We must say, I should say 7 principles. They are principles. 7 steps to self-reliance. And the first step, which is what we're going to focus on this week, is about becoming aware, recognizing the problem, identifying the problem. Because if you don't know the problem, well, then you can't escape from it. So that's the first step. And understanding our grocery stores, our insurance companies, our health providers, and our hospitals and that type of thing, and how they're connected, not directly necessarily by ownership, but by major investors. Maybe even say, who have a lot of influence and are connected into some people that we may not or may not agree with. Okay, so that's what this was all about today. So anyway, great way to start a Monday, right? Right out the gate. I told y'all Friday, those that were here Friday, I told y'all I had a show and I had something to say, and it was coming at you hot and it was coming at you heavy, and that's exactly what I brought. And I hope that you find that information useful. The next 3 days are going to be just as good. So there you go. Now, obviously, because I'm Memorex, I'm not going to be able to do the Redneck Weather Report today. Sorry, Jack. Go on over to Dyer Family Farm and check out the Redneck Weather Report and check out their channel as well. And let's see, the weather is supposed to be, I think there's chances of rain and cloudiness down where I'm at here in the western Arkansas River Valley. But hey, it's okay. It's been a nice few days of overcast but sunny. Got a lot done. Hope you all had a great weekend. I hope this finds you all healthy and well. To my usual crew over in the chat, thanks for being there. Thanks for holding it down. I know Bro's going to be in there. Keith's going to be in there helping out with the chat, responding to everybody, and certainly hoping to be able to get back on here live with y'all sometime this week. I know Thursday and probably Friday for sure. Tomorrow and Wednesday, they're up in the air. We'll just see. I just know we got long drives this week, and when we have long drives, they start us earlier. But anyway, enough of that. Um, Back to what we're talking about. I mean, I found that, when I started digging around sometime back, and I found out, how these places were connected, and how many owned, some of these brands were owned by the same corporation, these different food brands. Of course, I already knew about the psychology of the store, that all the bad stuff to me, and why it's that way. And there is a psychology behind it. Um, and I already knew that. So tying that in with the fact that and I wasn't able to find it, or I would have it up here, just might not have searched right. Um, but the chart that says who owns all these shows all these brands. You can go out and look it up. I've seen it on Facebook floating around. Just couldn't find it today, but I'll find it maybe later this week. I'll find it and bring it back, maybe by Friday. But anyway, it's amazing. Like I said, those 10 corporations that I listed off, and all the different brands that fall under their umbrellas. And then when you tie back investors to insurance companies, to healthcare providers, to pharmaceuticals and big pharma, makes you realize why things are the way they are. There's no incentive to change the system. They profit from beginning to end, and that's just the way it is. Now, I'm not against corporations. I'm not against profit. I'm not against making a business. Um, but when it becomes virtually, not 100%, it's not a monopoly, but I would call it a conglomerate. I call it how shall we say, uh, they're mutually beneficial to each other. They all understand the game, and they're doing the things to make themselves the most profit. And probably could be dug into, but it's not going to happen anyway. So just kind of think about that. And like I said, when you go to the grocery store, just think about that for a minute. And like I said, stay on the outside. I actually went and did some real grocery shopping this week, bought some real meat, got real things to eat this week, and I'll tell you what, it felt good for the first time in a long time to actually be buying food I got to cook. So now I just got to make myself go cook it and not let it go bad. But anyway, those are the things we got to do. Um, we're going to move on in and move it on down through here. The homestead hack. Now, this is tied, everything is tied directly into the shows. We're going to start doing that from all the way through so the theme stays there for those of you who watch. But anyway, take back one aisle, the single swap strategy. If reclaiming your whole food system seems overwhelming, and it does, and it's hard, start with this simple hack. Pick just one grocery store aisle and replace it at home. I'll give you some examples. This ain't perfect, but I'll give you some examples. Okay. The bread aisle. Start baking one type of bread each week: sourdough, sandwich loaf, or flatbread. You control the ingredients, skip the preservatives, and save money. It's just healthier. I've got a new farm store getting ready to open up here pretty soon, and they're going to be offering sourdough bread. So I'm hoping to be a customer, and then maybe eventually make my own. But anyway, it's about shopping local, right? Um, okay, the egg and dairy aisle. Now listen, this is a big one. This is an important one. Even a small backyard flock of hens can eliminate your need for store-bought eggs, and the boxes, labels, and middlemen that come with them. And you know what? And if you can't grow your own, I mean, just the fact that you can find you a local producer and you can buy their eggs direct, again, you've cut out a whole lot of people. The snack aisle. Replace processed snacks with homemade granola, dehydrated fruit, or roasted chickpeas from your pantry. Um, you know, Find alternative snacks. You can do a lot of things if you get creative. Takes a little extra work, but it's worth it. And the condiment aisle. Make your own mayonnaise, your own ketchup, or pickles using real ingredients, often with items you grow or you store. And hey, sounds good. Well, it works. It's manageable, it builds confidence, and it chips away at your dependence on the corporate food web, one shelf at a time. And I think that's just like super important. Uh, every little step that we can take, and it's a slow process. You can't, most of us can't do it overnight. We have to work at it step by step by step. There'll always be things we need from those places, but hey, we can do this. All right. So that was your homestead hack. Now, let's get into the quote of the day. Now, this is again connected. Now, normally I'd be yapping my head off like I did a while ago, but I'm not going to. Okay, quote of the day. The average food item on the U.S. grocery shelf has traveled further than most families go on their annual vacations. Barbara Kingsolver, who said that. And I'm going to say it again. The average food item on a U.S. grocery shelf has traveled further than most families go on their annual vacations. Is that not crazy? I couldn't believe it when I read that. Absolutely phenomenal. And and working in transportation, truck driving and stuff, I've transported food from Florida to Washington State, from California to New York, from Washington State to El Paso, Texas. I've transported stuff all around food, all around the country, picking up here, picking up there, um, you know, and it's traveling all over. So yeah, they do travel a lot of miles, and you know, people don't think about that, but it's just a fact. So just something to put in your hat. Think about it. Well, listen, let's move on over here. Yep, let's move on over here to the Mid America YouTube meetup. We're going to talk about that for just a second. This is upcoming events, things that are happening in the upcoming few months. I'm going to get through these here and kind of tell you a little bit about a Mid America YouTube meetup, Lake Eufaula State Park, Deep Fork Campground Pavilion, May 16th through the 18th. MT Homestead is our host. Mike and Terry, MT Homestead, okay, at gmail.com is where you can find them, or out there on the old Facebook. Um, Looking like it's going to be a real good time. I've seen a lot of people click interested in going on the event page on all that. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I've got conflicting things that have to be taken care of. But if you're a YouTuber, this is a good place to go. Some great people. Of course, I know Jesse and Lisa are planning on being there, and several others. Uh, Hippocallier Homestead, a bunch of, just a whole bunch of folks. Um, so y'all have a good time if you get out to that. It's Deep Fork Campground Pavilion. That's the main thing at Lake Eufaula State Park. It's where the nature center is at and all that. Want to get out there and get on that. Anyway, May 17th, same weekend, fifth annual Shed Farm Homestead Festival in Garland, Kansas. That's looking like that's going to be a real good one right there. Um, Maybe a little smaller scale, but it's I think it's down to earth. It's kind of a combination of things from what I can see. So anyway, if you're in the Garland, Kansas area, might be one to check out. June 6th through the 7th, the Homestead Festival in Hardison Mills near Columbia, Tennessee. This is at Roy Feek's place. It's a huge event, music, vendors, speakers, presenters, a crazy 2 days right there. Would love to be able to make it. Had it on the plans originally, but that's just not going to happen. So if you're willing to go down to Central Tennessee, it's about an hour south of Nashville. Um, anyway, looks like that's supposed to be a good one. It was recommended to us as one worth checking out, and so I would say that. Now, that same month, on the other end of the country, Modern Homesteading Conference in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, June 27th and 28th. ModernHomesteading.com is where you can find more information. They're also on the Facebook. Lineup is wild. They got a big, good lineup. They've been doing this for a few years now, and it is a good event for those up in the northwest part of the country or those willing to travel. Anyway, so we're going to go through the hot months, and we'll get on over to the first part of September. Ozarks, say that with the S, Ozarks Homesteading Expo, September 5th and 6th, Marshfield, Missouri. Really looking forward. That'll be Keith and I's first event for the fall. Keith will just be back in country, and so we'll be heading out, going up to that. It was a great event last year, had a blast. Looking forward to getting back up there, seeing some of our people that we've met up there, and back to making those connections. And the speaker lineup is phenomenal. It's just going to be great. Our good friend John Moody that we met down at Rogue Food Conference. Many of you know who he is. He's going to be there. Zach Bauer's going to be there, Joel Salatin, Anastasia Scott, Jill Reagan. Our good friend Dwayne Hall's going to be up there. There's a whole lot of folks. And like I said, go check out the lineup. I can't possibly name them all. But anyway, get your tickets for that. It's a great event. And of course, at the end of September, Oklahoma Homestead Rendezvous, September 26th and 27th at the Southeast Expo Center in McAlester, Oklahoma. That is put on primarily founded by Hippie Homestead and Chris and Dodge. It is shaping up to be a great event. They do still have vendor spaces open. You understand the size of this facility is huge. I'm talking about being able to drive semis around in there. It is a huge facility, has a large ground floor, a lot of room for vendors. It's $45 for the weekend, if I remember reading that correctly. So if you're a vendor, if you know vendors, reach out to them, reach out to Hippie Homestead, ourselves, different ones. Anyway, about information there. The speaker lineup is going to be great. Demonstrations all throughout the building, out on the floor and everything. And it was a great event last year, and it's going to be bigger and better this year. Got a lot of sponsors have come on board, and we're appreciative of that. It is going to be a good weekend. Looking forward to it. There's going to be a music festival, music entertainment. It's the plan. Music entertainment Friday evening after everything's kind of settled down. So that'll be a good time. And, just a great event and, very affordable. But you can find out more information at OklahomaHomesteadRendezvous.org, or you can go out there on Facebook and Oklahoma Homestead Rendezvous, or go over to Hippie Homestead and give that a click and reach out to them, and they can tell you more information about it. And anyway, put that on your calendar. And of course, rounding out the year, Homesteaders of America Conference, October 10th and 11th in Front Royal, Virginia. This is a big time event. Amy Fuel and HOA, Homesteaders of America, put that on. And there is no better lineup in the country as compared to this. The speakers that they have for this, it's the granddaddy of them all. It is phenomenal. It looks like it's going to be a phenomenal event. Two people that I know speaking there that I really dig, and that's John Lovell with the Warrior Poet Society and Nick Freitas, and so many more. It's going to be, like I said, another great event in northwestern Virginia. But anyway, that's going to be a great event. So put that one on your calendar. And that is a wrap on the events, upcoming events. I know there's some that I don't have in there. There's events going on around the country all the time. And if I started trying to read all of them, even if I found them and tried to read them, my man, we'd be here all day. There's always events going on in areas that we don't know about or just can't get to. So anyway, be on the lookout in your own area. Pay attention to Facebook groups and stuff in your area. You can find out a lot of stuff going on events-wise. And anyway, we're heading right into farmers market season, so make your plans accordingly for that. Anyway, that is a wrap for today on the Farm2Table Show Morning Edition. Thanks for joining us as we strive towards building stronger communities for now and in the future. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit the like button. Give us the old thumbs up. Let us know we're doing a good job. Give us the thumb down, whatever. Leave a comment, tell us we're great, tell us we stink, whatever. But anyway, but more importantly, share it with your friends. Hit the like button, give us that thumb, share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channels on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble. If you're not already subscribed, any one of those, it's the best way to stay connected and help grow the conversation about food, farming, and community. And until next time, you keep your roots deep and your vision growing. Good food starts with great people, just like you. Remember, we are hashtag stronger together and hashtag think outside the big box store. Shop local. All right. There it is. I know there's going to be hashtags flying. They always do. Anyway, to everybody in the chat, thanks for tuning in. I will be back live as soon as I can, but of course I will be here putting out quality information each and every morning, whether that's Memorex or live, and we appreciate you all tuning in. We appreciate the morning crew being here, those loyal, dedicated guys and gals who are here every morning, and hope you all had a great weekend. Hope you all have a great day today. Be a blessing to someone today, and we'll see you all on the other side. Be safe, be kind, and be glorious. And we're going to hand this on over to Hank to take us on out of here. So take it away, Hank.
No humans were harmed in the production of this podcast.